In this video, I'm going to show you how you can build your first agentic workflow using Claude Code. And we're doing it inside the Claude desktop app, so no terminal, no coding, and no technical setup required. We're going to be building a workflow that takes a folder of real work meeting notes such as client calls, internal stand-ups, check-ins, and we're going to ask Claude to read all of them, pull out every action item with the owner and due date, flag anything that's overdue, and save it as a categorized report, all from a single prompt. By the end of this video, you'll have a workflow that is running on your computer, and you'll also understand how to build more workflows that can be helpful for your work week. Before we touch any files, let's brush up on the definition of agentic workflow, because it's one of the phrases that sound pretty cool, but it's not explained very well. An agentic workflow is when an AI takes a series of actions to complete a goal, making decisions along the way rather than just answering a single question. Here's the everyday version of that. Say you have 3 meeting notes from this week: a client kickoff, an internal stand-up, and a check-in call. Each one has action items buried in it, assigned to different people, and also have different due dates. The old traditional way would be you open each file, you read through them, you copy the action items into a spreadsheet or task manager, you sort them, and then you send a follow-up email. That will probably be about 30 to 45 minutes of work. The agentic way would be you point Claude Code at that folder and say, read all of these, extract every action item, sort by due date, flag anything overdue, and save it in a report. The whole thing can take about 20 to 30 seconds, which is a lot shorter than the older way. And it gives you the same results without you having to touch a single file. So this is multi-step, goal-directed, autonomous, and that's agentic. So let's get into Claude Code right now and get you set up. Alright, so in order to start using Claude Code, you will need the Claude desktop app. I will link this site in the description below so that you can download the app. You'll just select the download desktop app and then follow the instructions from there. Once you have downloaded the Claude desktop app, you'll see something that looks like this. You'll see 3 tabs on the left sidebar: chat, cowork, and code. So you'll want to make sure that you're in the code section. The next thing you'll want to do is make sure that Claude is connected locally to your computer. So if you do not see the word local here, just select it and make sure to set up the connection so that Claude can access any folders that you have on your computer. Next, you'll want to make sure that Claude is connected to the client's meetings demo folder. That is the demo that we're going to go through today. And I'll link out this folder so that you have access to all the files and can follow along in my demo. Once you have downloaded the folder that I provided, you'll just want to make sure that Claude can connect to it and basically access all the items in that folder. Before I continue further, I do want to map out real quick what Claude Code is capable of, because this will directly shape how you think about what to automate. So there are a couple of things that Claude Code can do. The first thing is it can read and write files. So you can point it to any folder, as I mentioned before, and you can open every file in there and analyze the contents and create new documents based on what it finds. This is the core of what we're about to do. Second, it runs commands in the backgrounds. Even through the desktop app, Claude Code can execute scripts and run tasks. It just shows you what it's doing and asks permissions where needed. Third, it chains steps together. This is the key differentiator. It doesn't just do one thing, it does multiple things. It can take the outputs from step 1 and use it as the input for step 2 and feed it into step 3. It can basically build on its own work the entire time. Finally, it shows you its work. In the desktop app, you get a visual view, meaning you can see exactly what Claude wrote or changed before you accept it. Nothing is final until you say so. Alright, so now that we know what Claude Code is capable of, I'm going to show you 3 files from the folder that we're going to use today. The first one is Northgate Kickoff, so that is meeting notes from our kickoff meeting. The second one is Team Stand-Up, and that's the separate meeting note from our stand-up meeting. And then finally, we have Heartwheel Check-In, which is a check-in with a client. These are all fake information for this demo, but I'm just basically going to show you how you can extract any information you need from these 3 meeting notes. Now I'm going to go back into Claude Code and I'm going to type this prompt right here. Read all the text and MD files in this folder. For each file, identify the top 3 action items, including who owns it, when it's due, then create a new file called meetingsummary.md with all the action items organized by the owner. If you're wondering what a .md file is, it is basically a markdown file that is read exceptionally well by large language models such as Claude and ChatGPT. This makes them great for saving structured AI prompts and system rules. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter right now. So as you can see, Claude is currently working and it's showing you exactly step by step what it's doing in the moment. Alright, so now it's done. It's telling me that it has created the meeting summary markdown file and it's right here. And in this summary file, it basically found the following items, 12 total action items across 5 owners: Sarah Kim, James Park, Carl, Layla, Tom, and the full team. And it's also telling me that a few items from the June 4th meetings is already past the due date, so that is worth a quick check-in. Again, this is all just fake information for the demo. And as you can see here, it provided me a visual of the markdown file listed with all the action items needed for each person. Alright, so the next step in my Agentic workflow is to ask Claude to draft an email to each person asking them to complete their listed action items. So I'm going to enter the following: draft an email to each person requesting their specific actions to be completed and to report back on updates from the completed tasks. Alright, and now that it's done, it's saying Gmail needs to be connected first. So if you want your Gmail to be connected and for these emails to go out for you on your behalf, go ahead and do that. But as you can see, Claude also provided the draft emails here. So if you want to just copy and paste them, you can. Now the next step that I'm asking Claude for is to create a spreadsheet that tracks all the action items to make sure that they're completed. And this is a good way for me to look across the board for all people in my business or whatever and seeing what exactly they're doing and if it has been completed. So I'll go ahead and enter the following: create a spreadsheet that will track all action items for me. And if you want to go an extra step, you can also ask Claude to make sure to track your Gmail emails that are sent to you from your teammates that are saying, hey, I completed this task. Hey, this task needs to be moved up to next week. And then what it can do is basically read those emails and then update your spreadsheet accordingly so you do not have to do it on your own. As you can see here, a pop-up shows up asking me to allow Claude to run create the action items tracker Excel file. So I'm going to go ahead and press allow once. And then basically you'll see pop-ups like this showing up. Just keep clicking always allow whenever it comes through. It's just basically telling you, hey, I'm going to make this spreadsheet on your computer. Can I go ahead and do that? Right, so as you can see here, the spreadsheet has been created and it looks like this, which is really nice and clean. And again, this is where you can basically ask Claude, hey, can you make sure to check my emails and check for the responses that I get and update this spreadsheet accordingly week by week. All right, so now what if you want this automated every Monday afternoon at 2 p.m.? And all you'll have to do is just provide Claude with meeting notes from the previous week and include it into the folder that it's connected. So you'll basically enter this prompt right here, which is please automate the following workflow: retrieve the meeting notes from the client meeting demo folder, review the notes and draft email responses for all identified action items, and then 3, create or update a spreadsheet that tracks each action item, assigned owners, due dates, current status of completion progress. This workflow should run automatically every Monday at 2 p.m. I will upload the previous week's meeting notes to the client meeting demo folder before the scheduled run. Once the notes are available, the system should execute all 3 tasks without requiring additional input. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter right now. All right, now that it's done, it's saying the automation is set up. Here's a summary of what's configured. The schedule will run every Monday at 2 p.m. starting this coming Monday. Read all meeting notes, update the meeting/summary markdown file with action items organized by owner and with risk actions, write email drafts, and then finally it'll update the spreadsheet to include any new items and preserve all the existing rows. One thing it is telling me to do is to make sure to click run now from the schedule section in the sidebar. This just basically ensures that you have pre-approved the file and spreadsheet tools so that the future runs don't have to pause waiting on your permission. And then finally, it ends with a summary of, hey, so make sure you always have this with you. Drop the meeting notes into client's meeting demo and the system will handle the rest. So now I'm going to go to routines right here and you can see that the scheduled run is over here. I'm going to select it and select run now. You'll notice this pops up right here and it says history. This is where you can find all your scheduled runs and it is a great place to find anything you need from previous runs. You'll also notice the loading signs that's just telling you that it's doing its thing. And remember, even though you pressed run now, you still want to make sure to go into the session itself to make sure you fully complete the run. So as you can see here, it's asking me for a pop-up. So I'm going to say always allow. And again, another pop-up shows up. So just keep pressing always allow until the run is fully completed. Alright, it is now done. It's saying that 3 files have been updated into the client meetings demo folder. The first one is the meeting summary markdown file. The second is the email draft, so 6 emails that were drafted for each person. And then finally, the action items spreadsheet tracker that will list out all action items and the status for each of them. So now that we know the run is done, I'm going to go back into routines right here, select the routine weekly meeting notes processor, and then you'll see here a green check mark that shows you that the run is fully completed. And that's it. You have just built your first agentic workflow in Claude. So now test it out and try building your own workflows that are suitable for your needs. Make sure to comment below letting me know what you've built and if there's any errors or functionality issues that you have came across. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel. I post weekly videos breaking down AI tools and concepts in plain English, which is especially helpful if you're just getting started in AI. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.